Morning. I'm getting up to go do a side job this morning. Um, Man, because I have to, if I think of these things, I have to record them or I'll forget. But, bro, check this out. Like, really hear me out. You know how they say, like, the modern age is like, this is just like fucked up times and all this, and like how fucked up everything's right now? Hear me out. What if that's just like something pushed by the media, too? So check this out. We live in the safest times in human history. First of all, right? I don't know if I said this on a video before, but we live in the safest times in human history. Um, what do I mean by that? So, 50 million people died during World War II, and like I have someone like my pops, my old man. He was born in 1944 in Chicago. Like he's from Chicago, and he tells me about like how life was back then. My dad's always just like, man, life's way better now than it used to be. Like my dad, well, he's 80, 81 now, but he told me he's like life way better now than it used to be. Like he tells me that all the time. He's like, I never want to go back to them times. And then I got me like really thinking about it. And I'm like, well, bro, like I'm looking at even myself like financially, like, bro, like I remember we grew up hella poor, bro. Like my family, we grew up poor. My dad had a stroke in 1997, and we was fucking broke. I remember eating beans and rice, like, cause there was like I was watching this thing on YouTube Shorts about like the 90s, right? And how it was just such a greater time. But I was like, bro, I remember growing up, most of my friends around me, they were all poor too. They didn't have a whole lot of money. Like, they was poor. They were driving old cars. If someone was driving, like, what, in 1997, if someone was driving, like, a 91, that was considered a new car. You know what we drove when we was kids? My dad had a 1972 Ford Econoline we had that he had bought fucking years ago, like way years ago, like he used to drive around Oakland. And my mom had a 1978 Mercury Grand Marquis, right? This is buckets, bro. Old car that my uncles gave us, a 78 Grand Marquis. And then we had another 1982 Mercury Brougham, which was basically like a Ford LTD, you know. It was basically like a Ford LTD with a Mercury badge. And that thing never fucking ran. I never remember that fucking car running. It was always broken down. And our cars were just barely, their cars were just barely making it, dude. My dad, like, before he got sick, he was working on them cars all the time. I remember when we first moved from the Bay Area out to where I live, we was eating beans and rice for dinner, bro, for like almost a year, bro. We was fucking hella poor. And I'm thinking about like if we can even go like out to like McDonald's, that was a big deal back then. And granted, cheeseburgers 39 cents, we couldn't even afford it. And I was just like, damn, bro, like was it really better times back then, or is it better times now? Even if I like take into account, I look at most of my friends, like we grew up in the 90s, or we were kids in the 90s, we grew up in the 2000s. And I'm like, bro, life always got actually progressively better. Inflation sucks, but like I'm making more money than I ever did, and a lot of people I know actually are. Like I'm not that's not everybody, but a lot of people I know actually are. Inflation kind of sucks, bro, and it does. It's brutal. But as far as like times, let's go with crime too. So let's say 2006, right? I was a sophomore in high school. The high school I went to, Modesto High. I remember that year, like, and anybody who graduated in '09, they remember the year '06 in Modesto High. There was, like, fucking gang wars and shit there, bro. I'm sure it was like that at a lot of, like, schools, especially here in, let's say, like, California, right? Because California's huge in gang culture. There was, like, straight up gang wars at my high school, bro. There was fights every fucking day. There was fights every day that I remember. Like, there was hella fights, bro. There was a lot of violence going on in the streets. Like, there was just a lot of nasty stuff going on. It was just not too much. I feel like it's better now than it used to be. Just my theory. Sometimes I feel like the media pushes us to do that to bring our morale down, so we start to give up. I started thinking about it too. I was like, yeah, man, times are just getting harder, and I kept telling myself that, and I'm just like, damn, bro, all it does is put my morale down and makes me want to give up. And granted, yeah, the inflation is really the hard part, bro, because that shit's tough. Like knowing that your dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. But a lot of our problems is too is like we've maxed out our credit, all that. I don't know, man. I'm having like I'm just thinking out loud about, is life really harder than it used to be? I will say dating dynamics are much harder. But then I'm like, bro, I was 16 in 2007, you know, so it's just like I was just young, bro. Dating is younger when you're, you know, you're surrounded by a bunch of women, you know, a bunch of girls, you know, high school. Is compared to I'm 34 now, it's just like I'm not really, it's not really like that now, you know. So I'm just looking at everything and like, is it just the media basically like just tells us how things are getting worse and then we start acting worse, right? Is it like the chicken or the egg before? Is it the chicken before the egg kind of thing? It's a philosophical question. I don't really have an answer, but at times really harder. And any of y'all who grew up back then, do you guys remember being like, I'm talking about the poor folk who grew up fucking straight broke, man, like I did, and a lot of people I knew. Like, how are times better now, or are they better back then? I'm talking about y'all who grew up poor. Are you making more money now, or were your parents making more money back then? You know, this is kind of weird philosophical question. It doesn't really have an answer, but I'm kind of stuck. I'm like, I don't know. Are times worse? I know it's not as violent as it used to be. Like even murder rates are down all over the place. Like I don't know, like check that out. Murder rates are down all over the place, bro. Like things this is not as violent as it used to be. It's just that social media puts like a highlight on a lot of negativity and all the negative aspects of life. You know, it puts a spotlight on it, so it makes it seem like things are much worse. But I believe crime rates are down. I'm sure murder rates are down all over the country over the last like let's say 30 years. Um, but you know, what do you think about that? That's just my theory. I don't know. I don't know. Are times really worse now, or is it just like media basically telling us that they are, so we could like lose morale and start giving up? But yeah, let me know what you think about that question. Hopefully, y'all have a great start to your morning. And peace.